Let's pop on over, ladies and gentlemen, to Tulsi Gabbard. One more very interesting commentary from Tulsi about the disastrous intelligence that led to the war in Iraq, a war that Tulsi Gabbard fought in, so she would know more than any of these blowhard Democrat senators. Tulsi Gabbard just doing a spectacular job, ringing like a bell. Here we go.
For too long, faulty, inadequate, or weaponized intelligence have led to costly failures and the undermining of our national security and God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. The most obvious example of one of these failures is our invasion of Iraq based upon a total fabrication or complete failure of intelligence. This disastrous decision led to the deaths of tens of thousands of American soldiers, millions of people in the Middle East, mass migration, destabilization, and undermining of the security and stability of our European allies, the rise of ISIS, strengthening of Al-Qaeda and other Islamist jihadist groups, and strengthening Iran.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Cash. Here we go. We have Cash.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm struggling with a bit of the flu here, but thought it was really important to come.
Everybody's got flu.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough, but I appreciate the time. And
You're live.
Mr. Patel, if I can jump
Spartacus.
right in, 12 prosecutors, career prosecutors, were involved in an investigation prosecuting the cases against President Trump and were recently fired. Some of those that were involved in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Do you know who Brett Reynolds is?
Maybe, but it doesn't ring a bell at this point.
You're under oath. You have no recollection of who Brett Reynolds is?
If you could provide me with a little more context, I could possibly remember.
Are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with Trump investigations?
Senator, just to be clear, I did not participate in any of those DOJ
Sir,
decisions.
that's a yes or no question. Are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with Trump investigations? Yes or no?
I'm not aware of that,
Thank you.
Senator.
There is no evidence of wrongdoing by FBI employees involved in these investigations. If you do pursue investigations of those involved, will you commit to using, if these are actions that the FBI employees, if there are actions against FBI employees that do not follow those standards process that happen before you get in, will you commit to reversing any decision prior to your arrival so that those standard processes and the standard review by the FBI Inspections Division will take place?
I don't know what's going on right now over there, but I'm committed to you, Senator, and your colleagues that I will honor the internal review process of the FBI.
Have you made any commitments to anyone about pursuing any investigations or targets if you are FBI director?
Only violent criminals and terrorists.
Have you had any conversations with anyone on the transition team about pursuing any investigations or targets?
Only following the Constitution.
Again, are you certain?
Corey, go fuck yourself.
That I've told people on the
Are you
administration-
certain? Have you had any conversations?
To the best of my recollection, no.
Are you certain?
To the best of my recollection, no.
According to public reports, you were subpoenaed by the federal prosecutors to testify as a witness before the grand jury investigation investigating the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. And you testified before the grand jury, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you were before the grand jury, you pled the fifth on the basis of self-incrimination, correct?
I utilized my constitutional rights during that process with the advice and consent of counsel and appeared before that grand jury.
I will take that as a yes. And you are familiar, I imagine, with section 6002 of Title 18.
Off the top of my head, Senator, not.
Well, section 6002 is the immunity statute. Whenever a witness refuses to testify or provide other information before a grand jury based upon the privilege against self-incrimination, the court can order the witness to testify. The witness must comply with the order, but they receive immunity, which means that no testimony or any other information provided before the grand jury can be used against them in any criminal proceeding. You were compelled to testify as a witness in the Mar-a-Lago classified document case. Did you participate in any criminal
The
conduct
fake
involved
case
in that
where
case?
they planted evidence.
Involved in which, the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case?
Yes.
No, I testified through compulsion by court order.
You received immunity for providing information that was self-incriminating. Do you remember the name of the prosecutor who questioned you?
There were multiple, Senator. I do not.
Was it one of the people, or any of them people that were fired this past week?
I have no idea, Senator.
Are you certain? You're under oath.
I'm aware that I'm under oath, Senator, and I have no idea, and I did not participate in the removal of any DOJ prosecutor.
What was the information you provided that you received immunity for?
Senator, I would love my grand jury testimony to be released, but as you know, that grand jury testimony has been sealed by the Department of Justice, and I'm not allowed to discuss it here.
Well, I find it troubling that you do not know the law here. And let me tell you what the law is. Rule 6 governs grand jury proceedings. Under Rule 6E, grand jurors, court reporters, and prosecutors are bound to secrecy. But witnesses are not bound by secrecy. You were a witness in the classified documents case. You are not bound by secrecy. You can tell us everything that happened in that room and everything you testified about. I'll ask you again, what information did you provide to the grand jury?
In this
Look at
rare
his
agreement,
fucking
Senator,
eyes. Is he on
get my
cocaine
grand jury
again?
testimony. I want it made public. I asked the Department of Justice
So
to make
why-
it public, and
there
they
is no
refused
legal-
to do so.
There is no legal bound against you telling us right now what you testified to.
When I asked for my transcript
Corey,
to be
what the
released,
fuck
Sir,
are you
did you or did you
talking
not
about?
commit a crime?
Senator, I did not
Oh
commit
my
a
God.
crime.
Then why won't you tell us what?
He wants to fucking drill our new FBI about the fact that the old FBI planted evidence at Mar-a-Lago, doctored the top cover sheets of all the evidence. They literally put together a photograph of a bunch of things on the floor with their doctored evidence that they brought with them so that it looked like all that stuff was classified when it wasn't. So they put cover sheets on it. That was called doctoring and planting and tampering with evidence, and they got caught. And now Corey's going to bring up Kash Patel because Kash Patel used to work for the government, so he's always had a hand in on anything that was going on at Mar-a-Lago because he's worked for Trump. When the evidence that they were planting, when they raided Mar-a-Lago, when they planted that evidence and raided it, they actually took it to 2 different locations. That was also tampering with evidence. The FBI was completely found guilty of creating evidence, tampering with evidence. And that's what we're talking
You
about.
testified to.
Because it occurred over the course of 3 weeks. I don't have the ability to recall everything I testified to, but I'm asking you to
Did
put
you
my
testify
transcript
to
down.
witnessing the President of the United States declassifying documents?
Senator, what I testified to is best captured by that transcript
So
in real
you're not
time.
willing to tell Congress,
You said
after
read the
making many
transcript.
pledges today
Corey.
about transparency, whether or not you testified to witnessing the President of the United States declassify documents. In the name of all
What?
the values,
He's
have
allowed
said
to
today,
declassify.
did you or did you not testify to witnessing the President of the United States declassify documents?
I testified accordingly and under oath, and I encourage you to get that transcript.
And by the law of our land, you are free to tell people, what are you hiding from Congress?
Why is he
Answer the
pretending he's
question.
hiding
Did you
something?
testify to witnessing the President of the United States declassifying documents, yes or no?
Senator, the grand jury testimony is available to you. I encourage you to make it public.
As you likely know, the second volume of Jack Smith's report about the classified document
Jack
case
Smith's in
is not
big
public
trouble.
yet. To fulfill our constitutional duty of advice and consent, the President on nominations, members of this committee have asked the DOJ to review the report. Do you agree that Congress should thoroughly review its nominees? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, last question and I'll be done.
He acts like he got a
When
gotcha
you and
there,
I
but there
met,
was
you told
nothing.
me that you wanted to remove 11,000 FBI personnel or move many of them, and you said that again today. You have looked at an org chart to understand what offices and functions that you'll be pulling from. I don't think you've done a serious analysis, but I do think you have an assignment from Donald Trump to gut the FBI. You said yourself,
Oh, yeah.
I'll shut down the FBI Hoover building.
Fuck yeah, we
There are
will,
people
bitch.
specifically that you are targeting,
Corey is
I
a
believe.
fucking horror
And do you
bag.
agree that you have already prepared plans to remove certain individuals from their offices?
You can
For example,
guarantee it, bitch.
individuals that will be replaced by political personnel.
Yeah, new FBI that
Political
we
personnel
want, you
that are being
bitch.
put in an
Not the ones
institution
that
you and I
let
discussed
that our
has
president got
no
shot in the
political appointees
fucking
but
head
one.
over.
The political personnel's involved. These names: Erica
Secret
Knight, Tom
Services
Ferguson,
replaced,
Rick Vincent.
FBI is
You stated your
replaced.
question. Would you answer? Or don't you want to? Okay?
We can move on.
Senator Blackburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Patel, there is absolutely no doubt that you have the experience and
Absolutely.
the expertise.
He
to
has a
lead the
history.
FBI, and
Corey has a
welcome
history
you
of
here
being in
today.
trouble.
You are here. I've been listening to my colleagues across the dais and listening to their
Marsha
questions.
Blackburn.
And it has led me to
She's
one
awesome,
thing.
too.
Why are the Democrats so afraid of you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And
Senator,
why is the
you have to ask
FBI
them.
so afraid of him?
Well, I'll tell you what I think. And listening to their questions and your responses, which we appreciate, they know that you're going to go in and you're going to clean up that political cabal.
Drain that
been over there for
fucking deep
years.
state
You
cabal
are going
swamp.
to reposition the FBI to its core mission. You stated that earlier
Mhm.
in this hearing, and there will be no more political persecutions and no more two
Political
tiers
prisoners.
of justice. And they have liked having two tiers of justice. They have
Mhm.
enjoyed it, and it
Mm-hmm.
has helped them.
Right, that's
They
what
think
Corey's
in
talking
their
about.
political mission. They've enjoyed targeting Catholics. They've
Mhm.
enjoyed targeting parents. But the American people have
and Republicans
said they
and
want no
moms.
more of that. And our
Firefighters
colleagues know
and
you're going to clean
J6ers.
it up. I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking, sex trafficking ring.
Dershowitz,
Now, earlier, I
lawyer,
urged
for
then
starters.
Chairman Durbin to subpoena those records.
Mm.
And I ended up being blocked by
Oh,
Senator Durbin and Christopher Wray. They stonewalled on this.
of course they
And
did.
I know that breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump.
Mhm.
So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Mhm.
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director,
Now they're really
to make sure
fucking
the American
shaking in their
public
boots,
knows
the
the full
fucking
weight
pedos.
of what happened in the past and how we are going to countermand missing children and exploited children going forward.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
350 children
I do
were
wanna
missing
touch on
from
the political
Biden.
persecution. I find it so
And
interesting
nobody talked about it.
that they feel like you would carry out political persecution. Your parents are with us today. They fled Uganda and persecution from Idi Amin. And I think that with your background and given your family's history, that you would never move to political persecution. Is that accurate?
Yes, Senator, that is.
Mhm.
And we appreciate that you would remove any kind of two tiers of justice from the FBI because they have practiced that every day for years. Not all FBI agents, there are some good ones. And we
Mhm.
certainly want to keep them, but the politics has got to be.
Oh yeah, well
moved
we
out of
fucking
the
know exactly
agency.
which
Now,
ones are not.
They've tried to
And so does Corey.
frame you as being anti-police. We've
Mm-hmm.
discussed that some today. And I know that you grew up working with NYPD officers in your community. And I know that law enforcement groups, including the National Association of Police Organizations, have endorsed your nomination. And on top of that, your brother is a law enforcement officer. Is that accurate?
Many of my family are, yes, Senator.
How
Well,
many of your family, sir?
Well, I guess the Indians have a different definition of family. We got a really big one, and they're all family.
We
So-
all love big families.
So we got a lot.
I appreciate that. but it is accurate to say that in your role, you're going to do everything that you possibly can to protect the men and women who are protecting our communities.
That is of the utmost importance.
Thank you. I want to go to the Nunes memo. You were the principal author of the Nunes memo. Is that accurate?
Yes, me and staff.
Thank you. And that did really so much to focus the light on the Russiagate hoax and the political cabal that was for years operated out of the DOJ and the FBI. And I
That's
know
what they're
that
afraid of.
there are some that
They'll be
felt
trying
like
to kill
that
'em over
memo was not accurate. We know now differently. And I'm quoting a comment that was made about that memo and by a member of that House Intel Committee, and I quote, "It was meant only to give Republican House members a distorted view of the FBI," end quote. I find it so interesting. They use the term distorted view. I think the American people who for 4 years under Biden saw the FBI weaponized against them, against parents, against people
Right.
of faith, weaponized.
One woman
against
just got let out,
President
a black
Trump.
lady
I think
that
they
was in
would
jail
disagree with
just
that.
because she
Do you
was
stand by the good work that you
protesting
did
an
on the Nunes
abortion
memo?
clinic,
Our team, and yes,
and Trump got her out of jail,
And
so
the
she got
Nunes
reunited with her
memo
baby
was accurate
and her
in
husband.
its description of the details, correct?
Unbelievable
As
what they
confirmed
did
by
to
the
parents.
Inspector General, the special counsel, because the Nunes memo only contained sworn information received pursuant to transcribed interviews and production of government materials, including FBI 302s and DOJ memorandum.
So the Nunes memo is accurate.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that. In your new role as director, how will you work to root out 2 tiers of justice at the FBI?
Get rid of Cory.
The same way
Booker,
I've always done so,
'cause
ma'am.
he's
with
affecting the
utmost
FBI
fidelity
right
to the
now.
Constitution and integrity to law enforcement.
With his
Government
political
must
fucking
allow
bullshit.
those who are privileged to serve to execute their law enforcement duties fully, but at the same time, the American people deserve accountability inwards to government, to any of those who violate that sacred trust.
And as you prepare to take this new role, what are the top areas of concern for you as we look at our national security?
The top areas when it comes to national security, ma'am, have remained unchanged and the threat dynamic has increased. It's thwarting terrorist activities and terrorist attacks here and overseas against our citizens and our allies. And it also includes CCP espionage, which is running rampant these last 5 years through our country, including our cyber infrastructure and our agricultural properties. And it also includes taking on Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, and any other adversary that wishes to harm America.
Thank you. I look forward to a yes vote on your confirmation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman. Senator Padilla. Mr. Chairman. Oh, yes.